18 years ago when I was in San Francisco for doing an internship, learning all the aspects of the business. So I was working at that time with a Japanese anime company. I was an intern, so I was the assistant of all the sales departments, so meaning licensing department, TV sales, and even publishing departments. So then I came back to France after almost a year, and then I decided to pursue my career in the same industry, doing the distribution. The distribution means selling the content to the broadcasters. So I worked with a lot of distributors, and mainly in the Japanese anime. So because I'm a big fan of animation, but I also did a little bit of documentary distribution. But then after a while, knowing the business, having a huge network of people that I know from producers to broadcasters, I decided to launch my own business company because I felt like something was missing. I mean, I like doing business, but business is not enough. I want to do something more. Life is too short, so I felt like I need to spread a message, aside the business. So doing business and providing a message. So after a while, watching a lot of TV, especially animation, I realized that we are lacking diversity on the screen. I mean, it's always the same kind of content, and having people like me. I mean, I come from Morocco, but I have my friends from Africa they don't recognize themselves in the content or the characters that they see on the screen. So I felt that something was missing. So after meeting a lot of talented creators in Africa, I decided to focus on that kind of content that I want to bring to the international markets. So my company, I launched it in 2019, and it's called Mounia Aram Company. And so, as I said, I'm focusing on African content, meaning I take projects from African creators, and I say Africa because it's all the continents, so all the countries. So right now I'm working with some countries because Africa is really big, 54 countries. So I'm mainly working with Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, Morocco, but I'm still talking to other countries in Africa. But right now I have a few projects that the idea is pitching this content to the producers outside Africa to do a co-production, because producers in the international industry, they know how to make a content deliverable to broadcasters. That means they know what is the technique, but they're gonna work with the African talents. So we keep the African DNA, the African stories, the African characters. This is very important for me and for my partners in Africa. So I put them together, and then we do a co-production, and at the end we deliver to the broadcasters African content, so all the people all over the world can watch that kind of animation. So that's the goal and the purpose of my company, bringing diversity on the screen through animation, because with animation we can say a lot of things, and we need to talk to the kids, and the kids, most of the time, they watch it with the parents, so we are targeting a wide range of people. So that's pretty much what I'm doing right now.
That is absolutely wonderful, Monia. That is absolutely wonderful because within the context of storytelling, this is an argument that a lot of people have been stressing for ages, in fact, until the Nigerian Nollywood decided to take up a very bold step of challenging the Western narration in telling their story. It was basically one side narration when it comes to narration, when it comes to storytelling in Africa, particularly about the movie industry. So this area that your company is concentrating on, the animation, is very powerful, especially also in the digital age. So I really want to thank you for embarking on this journey, because Africa is full of stories, full of fantastic and powerful story. So as Africans, as people, it is very important, extremely important. In fact, it's the most important thing that we can do, the telling of our story. All right, now, looking at the business side of it, looking at business as it were, tell me about Paris, because you are in Paris. Paris is also hit by the lockdown, by the COVID-19 situation and all of that. So how is the situation generally in Paris in terms of this lockdown? Of course, we are going to come back to your company later on. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So we just have another lockdown. So it has been announced last Wednesday, so on March 31st. So meaning that the schools will be closed, and we most of the time they encourage us to be working from home. But I mean, if I talk for my industry, for the animation industry, I mean, we can do a lot of things digitally, so it doesn't have that big of an impact. Although I love traveling, I mean, most of our business is made during the festivals and events that we attend, but most of them they switch to online events and online meetings. So to get back to the pandemic, yeah, it's striking hard. We are waiting for the vaccine to reach all the population, because right now it's targeting people over 75 years old. So we're still slow on the vaccine situation. So we hope it's going to be faster, so we can see some. I will see. I will say we'll see the light, and we'll be able to have more possibilities to travel and to meet people outside France. So that's pretty it for the situation.
Mm-hmm. Last week, yeah, it was last week. I was interviewing a business, an Italian business person in Rome, in the real estate, who of course have different branches in different parts of Europe. So we were trying to look at the situation in Italy, how it is sort of affecting businesses here, and he was making mention of the fact that because he also have a branch in Paris, that it was a little bit more. Uh, let's say better compared to the situation in Italy, because I was making an instances with him of how I was entering into a bar, you could go inside because of the lockdown, of course, in that and the state is saying, okay, to limit the risk of contamination of getting the virus. Everything there are a lot of restriction here in Italy, and this one is really affecting especially small businesses. So he was making this comparison, saying that in France it was a little bit better because the government was a sort of assisting or
Yeah,
being a patch, being
support.
giving some incentive like that. So can you say something about that? Like, what kind of assistance are you getting from the government?
Oh, from on my personal point of view, I don't get anything because I mean, the problem that I have, my company was based in London, but then I had to move it back to France in 2020. So my company is new in France, and to get the financial support, you have to be the company has to be like more than 1 year old. So it's pretty complicated for me, but the positive aspect, as I said, I can do a lot of things online, and for me personally, a lot of things happened during the lockdown because I've been a lot. I changed my strategy to online, so I've been visible a lot, doing a lot of panels, doing a lot of festivals, and people will see me a lot, and so my business was rising, and so I it's almost like even without the support of the government, I managed to do fine. Yeah, I should say that.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. That's fantastic. Now, in terms of the animation, we are back to the story because I really find it to be very fascinating. It's very important these days because it's enough to look at Hollywood, for example, the impact that they have in the world, try to sell the American story. Of course, it's basically the instrument that the United States used to propagate its superiority, whether you are talking of the pop culture, in terms of military, the game, and the rest of it. So I look at it to be really essential in this day and age in this animation. What are you concentrating in terms of the storytelling that you are portraying? I understand that you say you have worked with, because the Japanese are also be very good in the animation industry, so that also is a fact. So in terms of, because you as an African, you are telling this story. I want to believe that from an African point of view, even though you are in Paris. So, what is your own narration? What is your line of narration?
Okay, what I forgot to mention is that the specificities of the content that I'm bringing is that most of the time I try to work with female creators because they are very creative, and we don't see a lot of female in the animation industry, and not to mention in Africa. But when we find them, I mean, they are pretty talented. So I'm really impressed by what they can bring in terms of storytelling and quality. So most of the content I have come from female writers, or if they are not women, I try to have at least strong female characters inside the animation. And when I say I'm bringing African animation, I'm talking about African animation representing Africa nowadays. I mean, you can, in one of the animation, you can see a little girl having a hoverboard or having smartphones. People need to see how it is in Africa today, and not having a fantasy image of Africa with the lions and the jungle. If you see what I mean, I'm trying to get away from the cliches.
Certainly.
Yeah, so because kids they need to travel, and traveling through animation is very inspiring. And also, we should not forget people from the diaspora, like us, like you, like me. I mean, we live outside Africa, and we need to know better our countries and our stories. And as you said earlier, we have a strong storytelling culture, and we can tell beautiful stories, and stories that are happening nowadays. And this will bring more knowledge to our roots, and even people outside the diaspora will be eager to see that kind of content, and they can relate to these kind of characters, as we did relate to characters that didn't look like us when we were kids.
All right, that is fantastic. Okay, now I'm beginning to see that there is a bit of fantasy in the story that you tell. Of course, if you are targeting the young adult, that is going to be very important. Whether you are looking at a story like the Harry Potter or the Alice's in the Wonderland or things like that, all the story that have been created in science fiction, and all of these stories that, of course, they are very important because they add a lot of senses to it. But looking at it from a historic background, do you also go into recreation of historic figures, historic facts? I don't know, for example, like story relating to past African event. I mean, re-event, like stories of African culture, maybe the Pharaoh, the Numbia story, things like that.
Yeah.
Do you have that kind of intention?
Yeah, I do. I actually have one project with kids living today, and their grandma. They tell them stories, and the stories take them to the original stories of Africa. So you have both timeline. I mean, you have the contemporary timeline and our ancestors. So you travel all the way to Africa, and to understand better the past, and as you said, the past emperors, queens, and Amazons that we had in Africa, but through the eyes of the grandma that is telling the story to the kids. And the kids, they travel backward, and they go to inside the story and to see what happened in the past, and how the past has affected the present situation that they are in.
All right, that's fantastic. Because the story is very important for me. Okay, I'm a writer, so I just like story. I like storytelling. Also, because storytelling is really very powerful in our life. For us to be able to make business out of it, so it's something that have a kind of double gain at the end of the day. Now, I would like to also know, what is the reaction of the people, the audience, to this creation of yours, this animation? How are the people reacting to it when they have it in front of them?
It's too early to say. I mean, these stories are in development, but I can already tell you that the people that I'm pitching the project to, like the producers, broadcasters, they are really interested. So it's very promising.
but of course they do have a kind of they do tell you something, or what they feel, even the people that are working with it, because since you are sort of networking with people, because I imagine now that you go to Ghana, or you call them, or you send them a proposal, or you tell them this is the project I want to develop, or maybe you should develop for me. I don't know how the networking work with you. So in that sense, I'm saying, what are the people, even the collaborator, what are they saying about the projection that you have?
Oh, they are, as you say, there are some great expectations because people are expecting that kind of content, and it should have happened sooner. And we see some content coming with African DNA on it, but having a special focus on African content, it's rare. And now we have it, and people are eager to share their stories. And I'm meeting more and more creators in Africa, and they are looking forward, I mean, to speak about that. And also, I'm attending a few events and panels. That I was at an event, a festival in Kingston, I mean, in Jamaica, online. And I was also talking with the creators, and they have beautiful stories promoting diversity in Jamaica. And, they have African roots as well. And I mean, diversity is needed. And as I usually said, diversity is not a trend. We are diversity. And people need to see how diverse is the world. And this is why the world is beautiful, because we have a range of characters that is, I mean, that's impossible to count. We are so different, but that makes us more beautiful and more interesting. So if all the people are more curious and try to learn each culture, I mean, they will be so rich of knowledge that they don't have right now, because sometimes they are too afraid to know the people in front of them. But they need to be more curious, and then they won't be afraid, but they will learn, and they will earn so much by learning their culture, their history. I mean, the food and everything. Everything is interesting in all the cultures. But if we can at least bring that through animation, that could be a good start. But I mean, as I said, the world is so diverse. It's so diverse, and we don't have time to travel all the way around, especially nowadays. It's super complicated to travel, to take the plane and to go to another country. So if we can do that through animation, at least you can learn a little bit about the culture. Oh, this story is happening in Nigeria. Wow. Oh, okay. It looks like that in Nigeria. So I'm curious. Now I want to know more. So, and then you go and look for more information, and maybe you plan a trip there. So this is how I see my doing my job. I mean, maybe I'm very ambitious. Maybe I'm very optimistic, but at least I'm trying. I'm trying to do something to shake the things. Because whenever you see something that is missing, try and bring what is missing to the people.
Thank you so much for that, Mounia. Yeah. It is. There are, I repeat again, there are a lot of beautiful stories in Africa that need to be digitized. If I want to use another word now, because those stories we have probably heard. Some of them we have heard them in oral narration. Some of them we have read about them in books, which is just 2D. But now we have the possibility of having them in 3D, in 4D, in the animation. So why not? Some of this story can be told, like the Queen Amina, for example. Then the Kijajara for Pobo. I'm talking of the Nigeria situation, for example. These are powerful stories, that need to be told, instead of maybe letting the children regurgitate old stories that have been told by the colonialists, like the Mongo Park and things like that, which actually absolutely have nothing to do with our evolution as a people. Somebody coming to discover me. What do you mean? You don't discover me. I have been there all along.
That's why we talk about authentic storyteller. The authentic storyteller is the one who is from this culture, and he can tell his own story. So we have to talk to the people there to bring their story. It's not us who can tell their story, because we are not legitimate to speak for themselves. They can speak for themselves, and they can tell the story better.
Absolutely. That is the responsibility, and that is what you are doing now. No, you are
trying.
Yeah. All right, Mounia, tell me something. How did you get started in this project of the Ammonian company? Yeah. How did you start? How did you get started with it?
So I started because it's not. I have my background is specific. I don't have an academic background. How do you say that? I'm a self-made person. And in France, it's not easy to find a job when you don't have the right diploma. And so that's why I had to go to the US to get an experience, because here I was struggling to find a job because I don't have the diploma. I went to university to study Arabic languages and history, but then I didn't go all the way to the diploma. So because I wanted to work and I wanted to travel, and then I stopped my the university, and so finding a job in France was hard. So I went to the US, and this is where I started to learn about the entertainment industry. I didn't have a clue about what is behind the animation industry. I didn't know that there were an industry. For me, it was just animation you see on the screen. So then I've learned everything, and with the people who were training me in the US, they don't have the same work culture than they have in France. In the US, you have to do the job. I mean, you have to prove what you can do. So they tell me, okay, do that. I say, really? I say, yeah, do it, try. And then I did, and they find myself, very, I didn't know that, but I'm a good negotiator. I know how to pitch content, but I didn't know I can do it. But they pushed me to do it, and they trusted me. And I had to show what I can do. But in France, you have to show the diploma. If you don't have the diploma, you cannot open doors. So it was very hard, very frustrating. So when I came back to after the US internship, I came back to France, and I had to struggle to get a job. So I worked with small companies, and even that was not very efficient, to get a better position in companies. But then, the company in the US opened an office in Paris, so I was lucky enough to work with them, so it was great. So I stayed in the Japanese animation. But as I said, France is a big struggle because, every time I tried again and again to get the position that I was targeting, it was a big struggle. So at the end, I said, okay, I know what I want. I know what I can do. And I know what's missing in this industry, so let's do it. And I did it. I launched my own company because I want to bring diversity on the screen, and I want to do it my way. And being an entrepreneur, I didn't know I can do it, but I was talking to very good people who were like mentors to me, and they said, if you have the good idea, if you are a hard worker, and if you know where you want to go, do it. Just do it. So I didn't study law, but I'm handling some contracts right now. I'm not a financial person, but I know how to do some business. I did my business plan, but what I know is I know how to surround myself. See, if I don't know how to deal with a contract, I have someone who's helping me. If I don't know how to make my business plan, I have someone who knows how to do it, and I will hire this person to work with me. So this is how I do things, because I'm not a Wonder Woman. I'm not a superwoman who can do everything by herself. So I just need to surround myself with the right people who have the same vision as I have, because I know the vision that I want. I know what I want to fight for. And it will take my time, it will take my energy, but I will do it. And the thing that I know, I think, I don't like speaking about my qualities, because I don't want to feel like I don't want to be bragging, but one of the quality I have, and I think it's very African, is I'm a hard worker. I thought I had the feeling that I had to work more than people because, again, I'm a self-made person, so I have to prove more to the others. And this is what I'm doing right now. I'm working almost 24/7. I'm trying to take a Sunday off from time to time, but I love what I'm doing. So I'm not afraid of working. I'm not afraid of failing. Failure is okay. If you fail, then you get back on your feet and you try again. You try something else and you learn. And I think being curious led me to that. I told you I'm curious about the cultures. I'm curious about the people. And when I felt that I had the right strategy, I said, okay, let's do my business. And you know why I decided to name the company by my name? It's because, whenever people, I didn't work with big companies with famous names like the people I know in this industry, every time they introduce themselves, even on the news when they announce someone is moving to this company, they say she has this diploma from this school. She's been working with this big company. And me, I was frustrated because I didn't have this. How do you say that? You know, I'm not. I don't have the same profile. You know. So I'm totally different. I said, okay, you won't introduce me through my diploma or through my experiences, but you will introduce me by my name. And so I decided to use my name as a brand. So I decided to build a brand with my name. So I said, okay, you won't remember where I was working, but you will remember my name. So that's why I did. That's what I did currently in all my experiences. People remembered who I was and not where I was working. Yeah.
That is absolutely wonderful, Mounia, and that is absolutely wonderful. In fact, you remind me of the late American inventor Henry Ford, who one time was accused of being ignorant in the fact that he didn't pile up his head with the so-called general knowledge. You know, people are full of going around with a certificate. I know this, I know this. But the point is that we don't really need to, because there are too many information around us that we need to accumulate in our working life, that we do not have the space in our head to fill out our head with unnecessary information, or what people would usually refer to as general information. So the really information that we need is the one that we should have, is the one that we can use. You know, Henry Ford at the time was accused of ignorance. Then he said, well, listen, I don't need to know everything, you know, but I surround myself with people who can do everything that I need. Of course, he pays their salary. With the click of a button, he can turn off the light in the entire building, for example. So I really do appreciate the fact that you take that one as an approach in that, and also you are very humble in opening up to it, which of course is the truth. No, if you are in business, it doesn't mean that you are a magic person, you are a superwoman or a superman. That is not what it requires. You just need to have the objective where you want to go, then network with people who can take you there. That might just be enough. So
and be persistent, yeah.
I didn't learn a lot from what you are saying there. All right, now you see, in our podcast, our audience, some of them are also new in businesses. So it is very important for them to know how you were starting. Those things, when you were having those challenges, because of course I'm going to come back to this question of challenges later, but because you made mention of it, how did you manage to overcome it? When you return from the US, you have acquired this idea, you wanted to start your own business, and of course you have to take up a work in an American company there in Paris. Of course, these are moments that are not very easy as you are starting on, because like Albert Einstein also said, life is a bicycle. For you to remain in balance, you need to keep pedaling, no? And you need to leave the moment of rest to the moment of motion. And this one requires a kind of turbulence. It's not an easy thing for people that are in business. So in this initial stage, where you are starting to pender, to keep the balance, how do you do that part? What encouraged you to move on?
To move on in my business, you mean?
Yeah.
You know, what encouraged me to move on is the small successes that I'm having right now. Because despite the fact, all my past and the struggles that I was facing, I managed to do something great, because the thing that I'm very good at is networking. My network is huge, and people, they like me, and they like working with me. I can, I will tell you a quick example. I have some clients, even right now with my company, I have like small clients, broadcasters, that I'm dealing with. And one day, one producer decided to go directly to the clients instead of going through me. And the clients, you know what he said? He said, no, I'm working with Mounia. So if you want to sell me that, you have to go through her. And I didn't know that, because they went behind my back. But at the end, the client went back to me, and the broadcaster said, you know what, they did that. And I told them, no, I'm working with you. So this is, relationship is a key. in the business area, if you have a good relationship with the clients, broadcasters, I mean even the partners, the producers, it's really important. It's really important how to behave in front of them, how to be faithful, and how to be true to yourself as well. You have your own personality and use it. I mean, some people told me that I don't have a very loud voice, but I say, okay, I don't care. I don't need to speak loud. I mean, to be heard. So I used my personality. I'm not a loud person. I'm not very shy. I'm okay. I mean, I know how to speak in front of people, but I don't need to shout to be heard. I know what I'm saying, and I know what I want to say. So I just needed to gain confidence in myself, because at some point, when you get rejected for jobs, and when people tell you, yeah, you are nothing because you don't have this paper, the certificate that you mentioned, you lose confidence. So it takes time to gain the confidence and to understand that no, you know how to do things. And look at people who trust you. Look at the partners that you have around and who follows you wherever you are going. So this is important. And what we need to have at some point, because it happens a lot, especially when you are an entrepreneur, you have ups and downs. Sometimes even in the same day, you feel good at some moments, and then you feel bad, you feel down. But what you need to surround yourself with the good people. Even your family, your friends, but real friends, people who will encourage you, who will tell you that you are good at what you're doing. Don't give up, never give up. Sometimes, even before starting my company, I was like, okay, maybe I should stop. Maybe I should change the business. I should go to another industry. But I was surrounded with good people, my family, my close friends, who were telling me, no, you have to go. You have to stay in this industry. You are good at that. But I felt, no, I was, when you are in a bad place, you're like, okay, I'm not good at that. But you have to listen to the people who love you and who support you, because you need a lot of support, especially when you start a business. You need a lot of support.
Yeah.
When I say lots, it's not a lot of people. You can have a lot of support in one person.
Thank you so much, Mounia. The question I want to ask you now has to do with women, in that women in business is something that is essential for any community, for any society. This is for the fact that women are very close to, women are almost a society superpower, no? In that they are the one managing the family. If there is a lot of resources that they are generating, it means the family is just going to go easier, no? Than maybe when they don't have anything, they have to depend on their men for all the money. They are limited, and therefore the family is sort of limited in a sense. So in community like African community, for example, the fact of women coming out more into entrepreneurial journey is going to be very vital for our continent, for our people. So I don't know how you, as a woman entrepreneur, see this kind of, or maybe I'm the only one that see it like that. I don't know. How do you see the importance of women in business today, Elke?
I think the best qualities that we have as women is we know how to multitask. We know how to do different things at the same time. So being an entrepreneur means you need to know all the aspects of a company. I was talking about accounting, legal, sales, all these aspects of the company, of the business. And we, as a women, we know how to multitask. It's in our DNA. So we can do it. We can, organize and do everything and be, some women, the women who have a family, who have kids, they know it's like having a company. You have to organize everything, the food, the school, and everything. And they know how to do that. They didn't go to school to learn how to do that. But even the women who don't have a family or kids, they have that in their DNA. They know how to multitask. So this is the main quality that we have as women. We know how to multitask, and we have to use it. And this is the superpower that we have.
Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
All right. Another thing I would like to point out there, always within women entrepreneur or women entrepreneurship, as it were, is the fact that a lot of women within the diaspora community, because this project, A classes, come from a research background, a research that we did for a couple of years about the presence of Africans in northern Italy. So at the end of the day, we came up that what can be what can be one of the solution is that among the community there are already people that are able to do something, that are educated, but of course not educated in the Italian system. Maybe at home from where they came from, they have a teacher, they have a worker, they have a secretary. I mean, these are not people that are empty. It's just that maybe in Italy, where they live, the system is a little bit different. If you have a qualification from where you are coming from, your qualification is not recognized here, depending on maybe the treaty between your country and Italy. In this case, because I've seen a lot of women in the course of that research who were already teaching in their home country, but they were integrated to their family here through family reunion program. But when they come here, they never do anything in teaching. At a point, they begin to lose all the knowledge they used to have in the area of teaching. So what we came up with at the end of the day was that, but these people can actually do something with the talent that they already have, with the knowledge that they already have. So looking at you now, you originally are from Morocco, but you are based in France. You were born in France, right?
No, I was born in Morocco.
Okay, you were born in Morocco. Okay. So looking at maybe other women like you, I don't know, it might be in France or even here in Italy where I am. So what do you want to tell them to that can sort of get into no stop. Don't believe in the limitation, because I really like your spirit a lot, no? You are not limiting yourself at all. That is very important in business. So speak something to these fellow women so that they can get involved in business.
It's never too late to learn. It's never too late. I even took some Japanese class when I was working in a Japanese animation company. As I said, I'm curious. If I don't understand something, I want to learn how to do it. So it's never too late to take some classes and to learn. If you need to improve your English, you can take some classes. And even if you are 40, 50, 60, you can learn. You can still learn. It's never too late. So if you need that to have the confidence to start something, do it. Go to class. Go to class. And it will take a few hours of your time, but you will gain so much from that. And what I would say, don't be afraid. Never be afraid, because you need to be, as I said, hard worker, persistent, resilient. That's one of my favorite word, because resilience is the key in what I did in my life. Because if you're not resilient, you give up. You are not the actor of your life. You're the viewer. You're the spectator of your life. And life, it's definitely too short. And as far as I know, we only have one. I don't have any proof that we have another one, but so live it 100%, 200% if you can. But you have to do things right now. You don't have to wait, because it's going to be too late. And it's better to start something and maybe get wrong, and fail. It's okay to fail, but it's not okay to have regrets. Because then you will see your life pass by and you will say, okay, now I'm too late, too old. And, I should have done that when I was at this age or whatever. But I think it's, the worst thing in the world is to have regrets.
Thank you so much for that. All right. Now, this is the last question on the part of the question. Then we are going to consider some solution. This one have to do with diversity. Going through some content on your webpage, I realized how much importance you place on diversity. And of course, I know you are also making mention of it in the initial part of this podcast. Now, I want you to tell us something about diversity. Why is this so prominent in your work?
It's, because I am diversity. I'm the good example of diversity. I'm a woman. I'm from Morocco. I live in France. I speak English. I speak Spanish. I speak Italian, a little bit of Italian. I'm humble on that.
Ciao, buongiorno.
Buongiorno, sono Mounia, parlo italiano un po', lo capisco perfettamente.
Perfect. You are super. You are super.
So, diversity, that's me. That's my name. No, I mean, as I said earlier, I mean, diversity is everywhere, and diversity should be on the screen. Why it's not on the screen? Because when you have many kids, playing around together, and they're like, okay, when they see a black kid, and they're like, oh, he looks different. No, he's not different. He's a kid like you. So when I say that and I see that, I'm like, okay, there's something wrong. There's something wrong if the kids now make a difference between the colors of each other. Because when I grew up, where I grew up, we were all mixed. My best friend is from Senegal, and I have friends from China, and we were all mixed, and we didn't pay attention to the color or to the origins of the other kids. But now, where I live, it's different. And I'm like, okay, there's something wrong here, because me, I was used, to live with different people, with diversity around me, but it's not obvious for everyone. So I want to make it obvious to everyone that diversity is here, and it's not a bad word, but it's something that should be obvious to everyone, and it's not at the moment. So we need to make it obvious and to make it beautiful.
That is absolutely perfect. There is no time that is more important to talk about diversity than now. It is a powerful word. So thank you so much for the explanation. All right, now before we start to look at some of the recommendations that I'm going to ask you to help people better adapt themselves to the situation that we are facing today, and in business especially, I want to tell you that the people that have been watching you up to this point, they might be wondering what they can benefit from you directly. So, do you have any offer? Do you want to promote something about you? Because I think it is fair enough that you spend your time to be here, that you seize this little moment to promote yourself. Go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something that I forgot to mention, that the good example that I'm going to the right direction, with my launching my own business, and to make other women or other people do that, launch their own business, and not to be afraid, is that I've been elected as a member of the International Television Academy of Arts and Sciences, the academy that gives the Emmy Awards in the US. So I've been elected a member of this academy in September 2020. So I'm pretty happy about that. So that means that I'm going to the right direction, and people hear what I'm saying, and they know that what I'm bringing is really important. So I don't need to promote myself. I just want to promote the fact of being an entrepreneur is not easy. It's a lot of work. If you don't like to work, don't do it. Because you have to wake up, and you think about work. You go to bed, you think about your work. But if you love it, and you have to be passionate about what you're doing. And if you don't do it with passion, you cannot do it at all. So that's why I'm breathing my job, I'm breathing my company, and it's in my blood right now, and I'm very passionate about what I'm bringing. I love talking about the diversity, about the being a women entrepreneur, being a woman without a specific background, coming as a self-made woman and do something great and try to shake things in the world. So we have to be significant in the world, because, as I said earlier, we have one life. We either a spectator or an actor, and I want to be an actress.
That is powerful, because we are going to have to make a choice at the end of the day, no?
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone got to make a choice. You can just stay there and begin to observe while the time just pass by. Then, by the time it's gone, you say, it's gone. Of course, it's gone, because you had the time to participate. You didn't participate, so now it's gone. You cannot recover that.
No, you cannot get it back. No.
Like you said, the worst thing in life is to regret when you have no time to change what have happened. All right. Now, you have actually responded to the first recommendation I was going for, which is what businesses need to do today to remain afloat, because the time that we have, that we are living in, is challenging. So I don't know if you want to add something to that. Like, what should businesses like yours, like some other ones out there, do in order to remain afloat in their
You know,
business, in the business ecosystem?
you have to adapt. You have to be flexible, especially in a time like that. The pandemic didn't stop me from running my business. I changed my strategy. My strategy in the business was before the pandemic, was to travel all the way, all over the world, attending different events, different festivals. And so I changed my strategy and make myself more visible online. So you have to be aware of being flexible is the key in the business side, in every industry. So if you're not flexible, if you are too shaken by some pandemic or some big crisis, I mean, it's going to be very difficult for you. So you have to adapt. I mean, sometimes it's scary, but in the beginning it's very scary, I can tell. But you have to shake things and make things in your own advantage, and think out of the box. And this is the key, I think.
All right, perfect. That is the key, to look outside the box, because if you remain within the box, then it becomes much. Yeah. All right. Now, I really want to ask you this, because this podcast today is about women in business, or women entrepreneurs, as it were. I will ask you if you could give us 3 strategy that women could adopt today in order to be more present in the area of business.
Hmm. Network. You have to have a huge network of trusted partners and clients and people, and surround yourself with the right people. Don't waste your time with people with bad energy. I mean, negativity is not good, and we don't have time for that. So surround yourself with the right people. Be present, as I said, online. You have to have a Facebook account. I was against that, but I needed to use it as a publicity for me. LinkedIn, I mean, all the social media are really important, but use them in a good way for your business as a promotion, and make yourself visible in terms of. I don't know. I'm speaking about my industry. Attend all the festivals and events as much as possible. Whenever someone is asking me to speak in a panel, if it's a panel related to my business or to what I'm defending, like diversity or African animation, I'll speak. I'm not shy, so I prepare myself. I do some research if I need to. I bring some numbers, some figures, but I make myself visible. So people will remember my name, will remember my face, and will remember what I said. And this is important. So surround yourself with the right people. Be present online on the social medias, and attend as much events as possible, even if it's online.
Absolutely important, that one. Absolutely important. Be present. And this, I think this is how to do with also how the podcast started, which was about narration, which is governing your own narration. Because you can afford to give this job to another person.
Yeah.
So as a woman out there who believe that you have something to offer, you are going to have to champion the narration. Failure is just necessary. It's part of the game. If you're not ready to fail, I don't know how you can succeed. All right. Mounia, before we get to the final statement from you, a brother who has always been following us here wrote in a comment, and he said, Mounia, you are a powerhouse in your word, in your words.
I'm humble now. Sorry. But,
you are a powerhouse. That is what he said. What do you say to that?
I don't know what power I have. I mean, I'm living my life. I'm living my dream. And, I think there's something about me is that whenever someone tell me you cannot do it, I make as much possible to do it and to prove them they're wrong. Whenever somebody once told me that I will not be an entrepreneur, so that's why I'm here, I think. I don't
I
know
love
how you
that.
call that. How you call the people who are, you know, whenever you say, okay, no, you cannot, you cannot sell animation. Okay, I will sell animation. I will show you.
I think they usually say, prove them wrong by your
Exactly.
action.
Exactly. This is what I'm doing. This is my personality. Whenever someone tell me, no, you can't, I show them that they are wrong. And I do it twice and I even take pictures and
That's a good sister. I love you for that. You are great. You are great. All right, Mounia, I want to thank you so much for the time that you have shared with us to explain to us what you are doing and, of course, the importance of what you are doing because in a time like this, it's very, very important that all that have to do with our story, with our narration, especially when it has to do with business and making money from it, is something that we need to encourage because uh, I cannot say that enough. We need to control the narration. So using film, using animation, using writing, whatever it is that you can use to participate in this controlling of the narration is absolutely important. So I really want to thank you for that. All right, now coming to the concluded part of it, I will ask your final message. Of course, the final message can be anything because now we have talked about a lot of things. Basically, we have talked about women participation in business, which we have seen to be very important. It's essential for our survival today, because since our women are basically in control of the house, if they have if they are able to generate more money for themselves, it means everybody is going to get more happy. Of course, it doesn't mean that if you are the man of the house, you are not going to give money to your wife. That is not what I'm saying. But there is difference between you stretching your hand for somebody to give you and you able to generate more. And coupled with the fact that women have a lot of managerial ability that is just inherently there, is going to be wonderful for us as a community. So I don't know what can be your message, Mounia. So you can choose whatever is going to be your message. It can be about your product. It can be about the customer. It can be your vision, whatever. Go ahead and do that.
Okay, I just want to give one advice. People will take it or not. I mean, if you hate your boss, don't complain. Be your own boss. Go for it. And independence is beautiful. I mean, it's so great to be independent, and being your own boss is the key to your freedom. So if you feel like you don't want to work for someone, because there are some people who are happy with that. But if you feel you're not happy, go do the things by yourself. Go for it. Stop complaining. Okay? Thank you.
That is it. Your words are powerful, okay? Because yeah, they are powerful. All right, so that is it there. Don't stay there lamenting. Don't complain. Don't just take action. Action is what make the move.
Mm.
Because if I complain to 100 people, what is that going to do for me now? Nothing. It's just going to me. I'm very intelligent, able to complain. I know a lot of things to complain about other people, but that is not going to really move me anywhere. But if I take action to where I want to go, maybe I'm going to take a small action, or sorry, actually make a small step. At least that small step move me a little closer to where I'm going than maybe sitting in one place and complaining about all the bad things that are happening in this world. So I think we really need to take the words of Mounia to heart. Action make the difference.